Welcome to the Nameless.
The game copied my room perfectly. That wasn't scary. What scared me was the photo I removed 5 minutes earlier was still there. It was on the shelf above my desk, leaning at the same crooked angle, same dust line on the frame, same glare from the overhead light. I stared at it longer than I should have. I remember thinking I must have forgotten to take it down. That was the first lie I told myself that night. I downloaded the game because it was cheap and forgettable. One of those indie AI-driven environments that pop up on Steam every few weeks. Procedural spaces, adaptive layouts, personalized immersion, buzzwords stacked like unstable blocks. The reviews were mixed, mostly neutral. A few people said it felt too accurate. One person joked that it knew what they'd had for dinner. I laughed, downloaded it, planned to refund it before the 2-hour mark. The setup asked for permissions: camera, microphone, file access.
Standard stuff for room scanning, apparently. I skimmed, clicked accept. Everyone does. The loading screen took longer than expected. Just a spinning icon and a line of text. Building your environment. Please remain still. I remember adjusting in my chair, rolling my shoulders, the kind of small movements you make when you think no one's watching. Then the game started. No menu, no tutorial, just my room. Or something close enough that my brain didn't immediately reject it. Same narrow bedroom, same off-white walls, same scuff near the door where I'd kicked it by accident last winter. My bed was unmade in the exact way I'd left it, one corner folded under itself, the sheet wrinkled like a frozen wave. Even the light outside the window matched. Late afternoon, gray, the sun already giving up. I stood up in real life. In the game, I stood up too. That's when I noticed the photo.
I'd taken it down 5 minutes earlier because it didn't belong there anymore. An old picture, me and someone who doesn't talk to me now, smiling too hard, standing in a place that no longer exists. I'd told myself I'd throw it out later, but there it was, still watching from the shelf. I told myself the game had scanned my room earlier, cached data, latency, a delay. Reasonable explanations feel very comforting when you say them fast. I walked closer to the shelf. The movement felt slightly delayed, like wading through shallow water. The photo didn't move. I reached out. In the game, my hand stopped an inch short of the frame. A message appeared. Object interaction unavailable. I frowned, tried again. Same result. I stepped back, sat down. In real life, my chair creaked. In the game, it didn't. That was the second thing that felt wrong. I didn't quit. I should have. But curiosity has weight. Once it settles in your chest, it's hard to stand up.
I looked around instead. Everything was right. Too right. Even things I hadn't noticed consciously were there. The faint discoloration on the carpet where an old rug used to be. The bent corner of a book I'd dropped weeks ago. But some things were missing. No phone on the desk. No laptop charger plugged into the wall. No trash can. Absences stand out more when you're expecting clutter. I checked my real desk. My phone buzzed. A notification from the game. Please remain within the environment. I hadn't tried to leave. I sat back down. Time passed strangely after that. The light outside the window didn't change, but my eyes kept feeling dry, like I'd been staring too long. I walked to the door. In the game, the door was closed. In real life, it was open. I reached for the handle. The game didn't let me. Boundary reached. I laughed, a short, surprised sound, the kind you make when something almost scares you but doesn't quite earn it.
Okay, I said out loud. Okay. My voice sounded normal. The game didn't react. I turned around, looked at the bed. There was an indentation on the mattress, like someone had just stood up. I checked my real bed. Flat. Undisturbed. I told myself it was procedural animation, randomized detail, environmental storytelling. The excuses were getting longer now. I walked back to the desk, sat down. The photo was still there. I opened the settings menu, or tried to. Nothing happened. No pause, no options, no exit button, just the room. And a faint hum I hadn't noticed before, like distant traffic or electricity in the walls. I pulled off my headphones. The hum was still there. That's when I realized it wasn't coming from the game. It was coming from my apartment. I stood up again, this time faster. In the game, I stood up slower. The delay had increased. I took a step forward. In the game, my foot dragged slightly, like it was heavier than it should be. I stopped moving. The game version of me took one more step on its own, then stopped. We were out of sync now. I stared at the screen. The screen stared back. The room felt smaller. Not physically, just tighter, like the air had been used too many times. A new message appeared, not centered, off to the side, like it wasn't meant for me. Sync adjustment in progress. I didn't like that word. I reached for the power button on my PC. Nothing happened. I held it down, counted in my head, 5 seconds, 10. The screen stayed on. The room in the game changed, very subtly. The photo frame tilted a little more. The scuff on the wall near the door was gone. The indentation on the bed was deeper. I backed away from the desk. My heel hit something. The trash can. I froze. It wasn't there before. I looked back at the screen. The trash can was still missing in the game. Now the differences were spreading. I walked toward the window. In real life, the streetlight flickered on. In the game, it was already dark outside. Too dark. No buildings across the street, no cars, just a flat black shape where the world should have been. I tried to Alt-Tab. The game didn't minimize. Instead, a small overlay appeared. External interaction limited during calibration. Calibration for what? I thought about unplugging the computer. The idea felt distant, complicated, like it required more steps than I could manage. That scared me more than anything else so far. I sat back down. The chair didn't creak this time. In the game, it did. I stared at the screen until my eyes watered. The room on the screen looked lived in, more than mine. The bed sheets were more wrinkled, the carpet darker, like it had absorbed years of footsteps. There was dust on the shelf I knew I'd cleaned last week. The photo looked older, the colors slightly faded. I zoomed in. The faces were wrong. Not distorted, not scary, just tired, like they'd been standing there for a long time. A new prompt appeared. Night cycle commencing. The lights in the game dimmed. In real life, they didn't. I reached for the switch anyway, flicked it off. Nothing changed. I flicked it back on. Still nothing. The hum in the walls got louder. In the game, the lights went out completely. I was sitting in a dark version of my room, watching a brighter one on the screen. The power was out. My monitor was still on. I checked my phone. No signal, no Wi-Fi. The time was wrong. It said 3:17 a.m. It was 6:42 p.m. when I started. I called out, "Hello?" My voice sounded flat, like it had already been recorded once. The game version of me turned its head, just slightly. Not toward me, toward the door. Something moved there. Not visibly, just enough that my eyes kept sliding back to it. The door in the game was open now. The hallway beyond was wrong, longer, narrower, the walls too close together. I didn't move. Neither did the thing in the doorway. Minutes passed, or seconds. I couldn't tell anymore. Then the game spoke. Not with a voice, with text, slow, one line at a time. This environment has been preserved. Preserved like food, like evidence. I swallowed. My throat hurt. I typed back. I didn't remember deciding to. From what? There was a long pause. Then, from revision. I thought about the photo, the one I'd taken down, the things I'd been changing lately, the boxes stacked by the wall, just out of frame. I'm moving, I said, to the room, to myself. The game didn't respond. I stood up. This time, the game stood up first. I reached for the door in real life.
My hand passed through empty air. The door wasn't there. My apartment ended where my bedroom ended. Just wall, seamless, unbroken. I turned back to the screen. The game version of my room now had boxes stacked by the wall, open ones, with my things inside, neatly arranged, labeled. I don't remember sitting back down. I remember noticing that the hum had stopped. I remember the smell of dust. I remember the game asking one last thing. Please confirm occupancy. I didn't answer. The screen went black. The lights came back on. The power returned like nothing had happened. My computer was off. I stood there for a long time, listening, breathing, counting the sounds of the building. Eventually, I laughed, quietly, a release. I unplugged everything, deleted the game, emptied the recycle bin. I slept on a friend's couch that night. The next morning I came back. My apartment was normal, mostly.
The shelf above my desk was empty. The photo was gone. I checked my phone, searched for the game. No record. Not in my library, not in my purchase history. I checked my browser history. Nothing. I searched the developer, the publisher, the engine. No results. I checked the building records online. Just curiosity. According to the city, my address doesn't exist. The lot is listed as undeveloped. I called my friend, asked if I could come over again. He hesitated, said he didn't remember me staying the night before, said he'd been out of town. I didn't push it. I don't play games anymore. Sometimes, late at night, I hear the hum again, very faint, like a memory trying to start up. And sometimes I wonder if the room I'm sitting in now is the one I kept, or the one that kept me.